There's nothing like experience. Reading a recipe is just not the same as baking the cake. That's not to say there's no value to studying, but experience turns theory into techniques and lessons into reality. Comal ISD Superintendent Andrew Kim is here to take me inside the world of teaching outside the school. Welcome to BexarCast. I'm Randy Langford, and this is BexarCast, a weekly interview with business, political, educational, and nonprofit leaders. We're examining the relationships between all four and how each one benefits from the success of the other three. In his more than 20 years in education, Andrew Kim has seen plenty of change. Now, as superintendent of the Comal Independent School District, he's a proponent of public education adopting an entrepreneurial attitude. He believes teacher quality and engaging instruction will be the key difference. Mr. Kim, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you giving me some time.
I appreciate you inviting me. It's really an honor. Thank you.
Proud to have you. I was reading on the Comal ISD website the welcome message that you have there, and it really struck a chord with me because I think you and I are essentially rowing in the same direction. You talked about education extending beyond the walls of the school, and that's a lot of what BexarFest is trying to do is get students engaged outside the classroom, given an opportunity to experience the real world by involving them with nonprofit organizations and letting them have that new relationship and a new learning experience. Tell me your thoughts on that outside the classroom education.
Yeah, no, I think it's one, I really appreciate you looking at our website. So work pretty hard on that and diligently. I think, today, our world has changed dramatically for our students just as much as our world. The fact that we're doing this podcast, the fact that we're communicating over the internet, I guess, and it's a changed world. And but in some sense, we've always known that real learning, and if we were to really define that, I think it has to go beyond the classroom. It has to go beyond the sort of the just the knowledge level, so the application level, the value to level. So when kids learn something, how do they translate and transition towards some sense of real world opportunities to see the context of that? And I think that sometimes we don't have the opportunities in our schools within the four walls of our schools to provide those expertise and to really provide those opportunities for our students to go beyond the classrooms, if you will, or our building, to experience the application of what we learn, whether it's writing skill, whether it is multimedia skills, math skills, or whatever it might be. I think that translates to real ownership of the learning, as well as a long-term development of what that means. And I think that's a very important, powerful tool to the learning process.
Absolutely. You mentioned a couple of things there. Applying. I know if I had a good reason to apply math, I'd have been better at it.
I think all of us can speak that in many ways. I think the proverbial question that all of our students and my own kids at home ask, hey, what is algebra going to be used for? What is this formula is going to be used for? And I think there are usage out there, certainly, and our teachers do a fantastic job of trying to figure out those things and providing those opportunities. But to really connect with business, industry, nonprofit partners, what a fantastic opportunity.
Right, and that real world learning experience, you get your feedback immediately.
Right,
face to face.
Absolutely. And I got to tell you, Randy, there's something else that goes beyond just sort of the technical or the content skill sets that you learn. You learn a whole bunch of ways for students to mature as an adult. Sort of these soft skills, the 21st century and beyond skills, if you will, right? That's been sort of labeled and tagged as. We're talking about, skills related to communication, skills related to the collaboration skills of working with others, to be able to be punctual, to be able to deliver what was said and promised, And I think those are very important skills and soft skills that are lifelong, that I think provides this great partnership that we have with you guys.
Well, you make a very good point. One of the things that we put the students in a position of where they're dealing with a client. They are a vendor, and they're dealing with their client to create this end product. And you're right; they have to learn. They have to learn supply chain management, conflict resolution, scheduling, resource allocation.
Right.
We're kind of sneaking it in under the radar. They're having the fun of creating a video or creating media, and at the same time, without realizing it, they're acquiring these skills and practicing these skills that they didn't even know they were doing.
Right. Absolutely. And I think the just the overwhelming benefit of that, it takes the mystery out of the real world for our kids, and we don't have to rely on YouTubes or different things. I think on real world, and I think that taking the mystery out of that whole adult world provides a level of confidence for our kids to proceed and move forward in their path of success that they want to pursue. And I think that's a fantastic opportunity. I wish we can get all of our kids involved in it as an annual work. All 25,000 students in our school district to be involved in that would be a fantastic.
We're working on it. We're working on getting an opportunity for every kid. And that's an interesting point you raise. You're in your 8th year now at Comal ISD. And how have you, we're kind of going down that road. How have you seen not only your district, but education as a whole evolve over that time? I mean, technology changes almost every day. I mean, that's a given. But what about strategically? You talk about giving kids real world experience, letting them interface with adults, kind of take the mystery away from that. And for a lot of these kids, this is a new way of interfacing with adults. In their experience, it's always been parent-student or parent-child, teacher-student. And now they're in a position where it's peer-to-peer. It's vendor-to-client. Strategically, how does that impact the kids and what you're trying to accomplish?
Well, first of all, we've just been just inundated since I've been here. The only thing we've known is growth. Changes, literally physical structures of streets, highways and byways. There's been a transformation of our whole entire region. Our school district is also 589 square miles. A very large school district, half the size of the state of Rhode Island, in fact.
Wow. And,
we're wedged right in the middle of the two of the fastest growing metroplexes in the United States, San Antonio and Austin. And we're garnering about 1,000 students per year. And so that's driving a lot of different forces that's really coming about. On top of that, we also have a desirability to change and prepare kids for the future. And that future is somewhat unknown because it is changing so fast. But I got to tell you, what still is a foundation to all of this is ensuring that our kids are well prepared academically, socially, the peer-to-peer interaction that you talk about, and to be able to traverse and communicate in a better way, I think is still a fantastic opportunity for us. So for us, that development of our students to feel belongingness to some group in a positive way is very important to us. And I think opportunities that goes beyond our classrooms, the traditional sort of textbook opportunities, is something that we're constantly pursuing with our students. And Randy, if you think about it this way, our students have the encyclopedia with them in a pocket in this sort of the devices that they carry.
Yep.
When I was growing up, I had to go to the library, check out the encyclopedia, look it up, and usually it's a little dated stuff, right?
Right.
Nowadays, our students, their information is at the fingertips. And so in many ways, we have to, as a system, really be on the forefront of providing those opportunities. Our students are on a faster track than perhaps I was growing up in school back in the day. So I think that has changed quite a bit. And so I think what has to occur is that we can no longer just teach curriculum or content in itself for itself. It has to be integrated. It has to be given some level of context. It has to be situated for opportunities for kids to get really embedded within. And I think that's going to be the way of the future. I think kids are already doing that on their own,
Right.
whether they're watching through YouTube or other internet sources. I think it's happening. So we must take some advantage of that strategically going forward. And I think opportunities like this, where it's a hands-on, real face-to-face interaction, I think is an absolute opportunity that goes beyond just helping nonprofit organization here. It is a greater win for our students more than anything else.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because the conversation I've had with a lot of the nonprofits that are participating in BearFest, when we first started the festival back in 2017, which seems like a lifetime ago, the nonprofits would look at it, well, we get a free video. Sure. Why wouldn't we want to do that? That's kind of changed over, because they've experienced it now. And
Right.
now the nonprofits approach it as a way to, they almost feel like they're volunteering to give these kids this opportunity, to give them this chance to experience exactly what you're talking about. So they still walk away at the end of the day with these media assets, but they recognize the opportunity they have to influence these kids. And that was one of the specific things we wanted to achieve when we created BearFest, was to immerse kids, I call them kids, immerse students in that culture, that nonprofit culture, because there's classroom learning, there's academic learning, but then there's societal learning as well, and we want to expose kids to that as well. We could have just as easily created a festival where students make a video about their school or about their band or about their football team. It could have been inwardly focused. And we deliberately made it outwardly focused, where we would engage kids with nonprofit organizations, not just for a day or two or an hour or two, but for weeks.
Right.
They are deeply engaged with these organizations, and they're immersed in that culture of caring, where they go beyond just what the nonprofit does and get a real understanding of why the nonprofit exists and why they do what they do. From an educator's perspective, from your perspective, what's the value of exposing kids to that culture?
Well, Randy, I think the obvious thing to point out is the fact that the culture of caring, the notion of kindness, is something that we pride ourselves in trying to embed within our kids' learning for the future. I think giving of yourself, and what's really been a unique opportunity for me here in the Comal Independent School District is that really our school district and our community as a whole here is really situated in that foundation. And I think it's been embedded within the sort of the DNA of this community for a long, long time. It's a very welcoming community. It's a very community that prides itself in charity work, volunteerism. And I think that just goes along well with this opportunity for our kids. And I think that notion of teaching our kids outlets to go beyond, to care about a bigger than themselves opportunity,
Right.
I think it's a tremendous growth opportunity as a person. And I think in this modern day of sort of the social media, I think that sense of that direction provides in my opinion, a huge maturity level development that I don't think you can get with anything else today. And I think, once again, giving up of yourself to others, and how we go about doing that, I think is a tremendous thing. And our kids care about the world in a very, very sense. To localize that to opportunities that are available here, causes, outlets through the nonprofits, man, it's a fantastic opportunity. It really is. And I just encourage and hope that we can continue this process and expand it even to a larger degree. I really do.
I hope so. I'm with you. We're like I say, we're rowing in the same direction.
Good.
And I can attest to that, to your idea that it's baked into the DNA of the community, that because the Comal schools have been active participants in BearFest from the beginning. Canyon Lake, Memorial, Smithson Valley, they've all been in the festival, and they've all shown just what kind of compassionate community it is, and it's very gratifying. And that reflects on not only on the students, but on the people who are willing to take on this challenge in support of the students, because it reflects on the faculty and the staff at all of your schools that bringing a team to BearFest is no small feat.
That's right.
there are hours involved. There's time involved and engagement involved, and it's a lot of work for the coaches that have a full plate. I am very appreciative of the teachers that participate in the festival because they got plenty to do. And this is just something above and beyond the call that they are willing to take on. What does that say about the faculty? I want to give you this chance to brag on your troops. What does that say about the faculty and the staff in Comal?
Randy, we have over 1,500 teachers in our school district, over 3,000 employees total. And all of our staff members and our parents and our overall community really have a passion about relationships and really have a passion about caring for one another. And it's on a day-to-day basis that we sense that, feel for that. There is a very tight-knit community feel, even though we're 589 square miles.
Right.
Let me tell you, the amount of support and engagement that we have among the various folks in our community and all of the folks is really a strength, and it is baked into the DNA of our school district. And it shows the passion. And all of our teachers, I mean, to dedicate, as you talked about, the amount of hours and the time necessary required beyond an extra time of the classroom duties that they have, it takes passion to do that. It takes passion about their kids. It's about the passion about the students. It's a passion about the causes. And I think that is certainly a hallmark in our school district. And let me tell you, I'm so fortunate and lucky. It is nothing that I've done, but really I've benefited from just joining in this conversation in this community. And just all I'm trying to do is make sure that I don't get in the way of that. But it's a fantastic group of folks that we work with on a day-to-day basis. It truly is an inspiration to many of us that are here in the Comal Independent School District.
Well, we're certainly proud to have them. Proud to have your teams participating in the festival. I want to thank you. Thank you so much for the time, for speaking with me, for spending some time with me, and telling me the story about Comal ISD. I love it. I can't wait to see what you guys are creating for this year's festival.
Well, I appreciate it very much, and we certainly want to be continue to be a big part of that. We want to support the various organizations that are really doing some great work out there. So we really do appreciate this opportunity for us.
Well, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it, and I appreciate all you do.
Thank you very much.